Coming to you from Studio HQ, you're welcome to another episode of Sunder Katz. Why Sunder? We're going to be talking about something different. And why cats? Because we're the coolest cats in town. One cat in particular, Tracy, welcome.
Hey.
And then we've got P Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Bounce, bounce. And then we got Manny.
What's happening?
What's happening?
I like
and I'm going to
that.
be in the mix, mixing up with this this motley crew. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Albatross Funnybooks. It's a company that's not very old in terms of the new stuff that's out, but they've been around a little while. So Eric Powell started began the Goon back in 1998. He started with publisher Avatar Press until 1999. He wasn't really happy with the way that the books were published and just went on hiatus, stopped making books for Avatar. Then he self-published under Albatross Exploding Funny Books in 2002 when he left Avatar Press. And then the Goon was picked up by Dark Horse in 2003, where Powell had more freedom to make books, like actually write stories and make his books rather than the publishing side. So, it's a book that's been around a while. And in circa 2016, Powell released Hillbilly through Albatross Funnybooks. And then in 2019, Goon joined as well. But Tracy, have you been a fan or have you been reading Albatross books?
Yeah, I found Hillbilly by accident I found a single issue in a bargain bin.
Wow.
And when you said that this was what we were going to do, I was like, I know I have it. And I pulled out, I have a plastic long box underneath my bed with it's my random long box for when I get bored, just something. And I went and I found it. And I was like, and it was, I knew I had it. Brilliant. I love how it's drawn. I love how they're using the southern drawl within and how the conversation flows in it. And it's just so bold. in a
Hell yeah.
That's so bold. And I just loved everything about it. It was just for me, it really sucked me in, and I got more and more into it. And that led John then back to like the Goon, and I was like, oh my god, he was with Mike Magola for a while, and it was like, how did I not know this? Yeah. And then when you were talking about funny books, and we ended up reading the collective of short stories, I didn't know they existed, so I was introduced to something new.
That's great.
And then obviously my favorite thing that I need to purchase when I get paid this month is the Goon Tiki mug. It's on their website. It's the only thing on their website. You need to buy it because it's just the best looking thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. And I love the little Frankie as well.
I know. I don't like those white eyes.
How about you, Rabbit? Was this your first encounter, or have you been a fan, or?
I can't say I've been a fan. I actually haven't heard of many of these books. I have heard of Hillbilly, and I have seen it before, but I've never picked it up and read it. I'm glad that we got to read that, though. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Definitely.
All right, Manny. I can see that the sparkle in your eye.
Yeah, I'm a super fan. Well, I've been a fan of Eric Powell's for a long time. I actually feel like he's one of the most underrated artists in our industry. Seriously.
I heard he's self-trained too.
Yeah, man, he's so underrated. He can. We're gonna as we talk about the books, we're gonna talk about different things, but he can use any type of media, and it'll look beautiful, and he goes from watercolor to pencils to inks to digital color in the same book, and he does it so seamlessly that you're just in awe. Yeah, I mean, I look at it and I just cannot keep my ass off of it. It's crazy. I love it.
He's a true Renaissance artist, I think, when it comes to
he's a true master.
You don't see it anymore.
No, you don't.
Especially with media, going from one to another and being as efficient as he is and what he puts out. And again, he is self-taught, which is mind-numbing.
Yeah.
I'm just being just
Yeah.
this beautiful wordsmith that just moves things in the right direction. Just
Right.
No,
He does
truly
it with
is.
the art. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and the books are available in Comixology, or the site formerly known as Comixology. If you go onto Amazon, you can still find the Kindle or the digital readable books in trade paperback form, as you can see there on this page here. And there's a bit of a close up for the Goon, so you can still pick up the Goon through formerly known as Comixology. And then we move on to their company website. As you can see, there are a very limited amount of books. Tracy, you went through the site. What did you think?
Again, very limited, very small, not a lot. But any company that has two of their publications about pugs, completely different stories, I am all in. Like, I have a friend, and his company is Two Pugs Publishing, and but when I went onto this website and I'm looking at these books, because I know the good, I know Hillbilly, and I'm going, yeah. And then it's like, oh, there's a supernatural pug, and then there's a spaceship one. And then all they have is the goon, is the tiki mug. So I was super happy with this really basic, simple, wonderfully easy to maneuver website.
Right. Right.
And how about you, Rabbit? How did you find the website?
I definitely will agree that it was easy to maneuver because there really wasn't that much. I was hoping for more. I mean, every little bit about it was great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great, but I mean, give me more.
Yeah.
I really wanted more.
I mean, when you jump onto the original art, though, there are some here. As you can see, a lot sold out, but there are still a few original art pieces available, and not terrible pricing. I mean, for Australian dollar, probably send me back about $1,000 for an original art piece. But then again, it's from the actual comic book. It's not a duplicate or a scan copy.
But we've seen individual pages sell for millions, let alone thousands.
Oh yeah.
To get that quality and that caliber of art from somebody, you're not going to be spending less than that amount. It really is a bit of a bargain.
But look at it; it looks so nice.
I know, it's so pretty. It's like save up for Christmas.
Yes, definitely.
If you put like $10 away every week.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Tracy's financial advice. We can make it a segment.
Sales at Christmas, and people give you money so you could just hold on for like birthdays and stuff, and then purchase. And if you don't have a lot of money, just buy the tiki mug, lads, because it's amazing. It's the simple things in life that make you happy. Do it. And then go and buy the back issues of all of Hillbilly, because it's just.
And where can we find your financial advice, Tracy?
On every podcast that you ever hear me on.
You heard it first, folks, right here on Sunder Katz.
Yeah.
There you go.
I keep pooping really hard.
I have to admit, that looks really dope.
The little one is Frankie. Oh my God.
That's Frankie. Yeah.
I sent a picture to my nephews, and they're 9 and they're 6, and the 6-year-old was like, "Oh my God, that cup is pooping! It's so funny." This is what I cannot adult. I cannot adult when I see things that make me
That's too funny.
You know what I mean?
My goodness.
It's the best thing ever.
Okay, so let me straight face right here. We're going to be talking about our first book today, ladies and gentlemen, and that is Grumble, written by Rafa Roberts, with art by Mike Norton, colors by Maurice Louise, letters by Crank, and edited by Danny Cousin. So, Tracy, as the pug expert, what did you think of this book?
I loved it. I think the colors are fantastic. I think it's drawn simply, but with technique. You can see that it's not just thrown together, but it is done in a really nice way that you're not going to be like, oh, this panel doesn't work. Why? And this, it just flows. And the subject matter is hilarious and makes me extremely happy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Supernatural meets deck collection meets pug. That's basically the book of the ground.
Different category.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. But like if you go through a couple of the pages, you will see the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think personally, I found that the script and the lettering was slightly small in comparison to some other pages where there is enough room that they could have gone that tiny millimeter or so bigger.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm getting old and my eyes don't see grey. But you know
All
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, Robert, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of Grumble?
I thought it was simply laid out, and like she had mentioned, the layouts were nice in the way that they were. They were definitely simple. I thought the story was good. It really was a stretch at the first, but really collected itself towards the middle and the end. I felt like it was a Men in Black, R.I.P.D. kind of,
Oh,
twist
yes.
with, and it really kind of pulled me in, especially whenever he did turn into the pug, which it took a while, but obviously it was an introduction. It was very funny, and
Yeah.
that's really what I felt that this was trying to do, was punch you with the funny, and it delivered to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I found it funny though, people freaking out about a talking pug, but they were like orcs and aliens and three-headed monsters. Like, you know
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I
that's
mean?
okay.
Exactly, but talking pugs is a no-no.
Mhm.
All right, Manny, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the art?
I love the art. Actually, it when I first started flipping through it, it reminded me of I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Bright. It was a
Yes.
Netflix
Yeah.
movie by Will Smith. It,
Mhm.
Oh,
it, it,
yes,
it
yes.
yeah, it gave me that vibe because in this story you have different kinds of species, orcs and aliens and all kinds of stuff, and they all seem like perfectly normal with each other, like
Yeah.
nothing's wrong. It was like Bright. I was like, wow, this is okay. This is interesting, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a nice little curveball with. I was thinking the blonde guy in the beginning was gonna be the villain, and the girl was
Same.
hunting him, and then all of a sudden, now she was actually looking for him to help her, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
The character design is crazy, and the lead character, a sexy punk type of witch, yeah,
Oh,
sold.
yeah.
Take my money,
Mhm.
Like,
you know. But yeah, it's really cool. The art is very stylish, and yeah, I really like it. I really dug it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was drawn to it as well. I just love that, we could have stories with just real life scenarios, but they just throw this science fiction element into a standard story, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I love that
Eh,
it's science fiction, it's science fiction, pure kind of, Battlestar Galactica style,
right.
Oh,
and and
fantasy.
and, and the artist he goes from very gritty like the bar scene and the streets. It looks almost dirty, and then he goes to space and it looks grand like Jack Kirby type of art, and I'm like,
mm,
holy crap. He controls the narrative, and he just, you're there, like visually you're like, oh my god, this is insane.
Yeah.
yeah. You have any more to add, Rabbit?
No, I thought it was really good. I mean, like I said, it reminded me of Men in Black and Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of twisted all in together. It really delivered with the funny, like I said. I mean,
It's
in the
true.
middle there, it just kind of started punching its way and just didn't stop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
that's
it was
true.
actually it was a really fun read, and the guy that becomes a pug, he's a guy you just love to hate. You love him, but you want to hate him as well.
Yeah,
He's such
yeah.
a tool.
I'm
What we
actually
call him
very
out under the wanker.
yeah. I'm
He is.
actually really interested in the bounty hunter that we see at the end. Just her
Mm.
design. I'm like, oh man, she looks so
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
crazy.
yes,
I can't wait to see more of her.
Yep.
yes. Okay, and this book here really struck me. The scary stories for kids, because I actually thought of you, Manny, when I saw this book, having three young boys. So Spook
Yeah.
House #1, Spook
Mhm.
House story. First story is by Eric Powell. Frog Monster from Under the Sink. is written and inked by Eric Powell, pencils by Stephen Manchin, colors by Brennan Wagner, and then the last story, Neck Razor, by Eric Powell. I was like not expecting what I saw in this book, and I had a jolly old laugh. Tracy, what did you think of Spook House #1?
Frog under the sink is my new spirit animal. I thought it was fantastic. I love Lenore. The books Lenore, and I also love I Hate Fairyland, so Scotty Young ones. And it kind of gave me those vibes in relation to the story. But look at him. Look at
Yeah,
that.
he's so cute.
Look at his little face. Yeah, I just think it's I can see my 12-year-old niece. Well, sorry, she'll be 13. She would eat this up. She just would absolutely, without a doubt, be like, bring this into school and be like, lads, look at this. And it's definitely, I know the frog story is definitely the one that she would pick too, because we're the same.
Yeah, no, I was, yeah, I really love this book. Rabbit, what did you think?
I thought it was a very cute book. I think the worst part about it was the stories were too short, but I mean, it really was entertaining, especially, at the end of that first story when he's like, this is my family kind of thing. And I'm not trying to give too many away, but I mean, it really was, that was really the best part for me.
Yeah. I agree.
No, it was so funny. Manny, what did you think of the art overall in the story?
I look, and I even wrote it down. The one thing that struck about the artwork was even in the story that Eric didn't actually drew the monster in the under the sink.
Yeah, the frog under the
He
sink.
he only did the inking, but you can tell how strong his inking is because even he didn't draw it, and you can see it almost feels similar to the one that he actually drew. It's just how he basically he has the layouts, and he just puts all his love and his inking into it, and it just ties it all in. But my favorite was the first one, the spook house.
Yeah.
Man, everything about it, the atmosphere, the colors, the twist. Like from the moment I saw that little character, I was like, I don't think that's a mask. That's too real. But yeah, I love the first. All of them were good, but that first one was, I was sold with that one. And but it like Rabbit said, the story seemed very short, but I know the monsters under the monster under the sink. I know that it's probably going to continue because it pretty much ended with her about to go into the sink or something like that. So I think they're going to have more and more stories.
Yeah, or they could just leave up to your imagination of how the story ends as well.
True,
that's the great thing about anthologies. But I love this little advert. Look at this advert.
Yeah.
That's the guy from the first story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Boy.
It's great that it has the whole advertisement on it, like, you know what I mean? It's just, and this heck razor, when I seen it,
that was hilarious.
I actually laughed that I snorted. I was like, are you killing me?
When he said, I tooted.
And it had a few panels of the reaction.
Oh, that's super funny.
Yeah, but this is great. We got stories that your boys can read, Manny. That's why I thought of you.
I know. But it's crazy because the first one is kind of creepy, but yeah, you're right. That it's and it's something that you don't see often, like a horror theme for kids.
Yeah.
Those are not like you don't see them often. So I was like, wow.
No, definitely not.
Funny thing, because I know myself from working with younger kids in the writing classes, they love Friday Night at Freddy's. This seems to be
right.
Thing. And I had a 8-year-old and an 11-year-old both write stories with me, and both of them wrote horror stories. And they were like, "Can we do this? Can we do murder in a school?" And I was like, "Yeah, off you go.
Cool.
Why not?" New generation,
But,
push them forward.
yeah, no, but these stories were very clever, and I really appreciate that
They
we
were.
got stories like this for all ages, and I'd like to see more of it. And the thing is, and these last two books, well, I think there was like a couple of cuss words in Grumble, but not many overall.
Right,
Not like
right.
we saw in other publishers that we saw. So it was really nice. It was really refreshing. All right,
Right.
moving on to the next book, and I know you touched on this before, Tracy, but I'm going to ask Rabbit about what he thought about Hillbilly.
So I came into this not really knowing too much about any of these books. This book,
Same.
the story in it was amazing. This
Yep.
I've wrote a few books, and I hope that one of my books can come close to this one day, because this book, I mean, just the way that he wrote it from the beginning to the end, it made you have a little bit of a roller coaster telling those two stories and kind of making you wait for that main impact. It just, to me, I was jaw.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
All right, so I'm just gonna. Sorry, I'll just say yeah. It was written by Eric Powell and edited by Tracy Marsh. So only two creators in this book. But Manny, I want to hear your perspective in terms of the arts.
Man, again, Eric Powell, man, I'm telling you, this is a masterpiece, man, from beginning to end. Everything, every little detail about this story, every little detail about, like, when you see the dreams and the story in contrast with what's actually happening, how he can draw anything from the bear, from the witches, the crow. It's just, man, there's nothing this guy cannot do. Seriously,
Yeah.
he's one of my favorite artists of all time. Seriously. And when I first read Hillbilly, I from the cover alone, I thought he was a villain, and 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 I have to be honest, when you first start reading and you see that there's like a black family, and the little black boy gets lost. From the title alone, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be like this racist thing, like the hillbilly is gonna kill this black kid, and I was so, like, my heart just was like, oh my god, and it turns out that he's actually the hero, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so awesome, this is so awesome. Yeah, and the whole story about the cleaver is from the witch caught it from hell. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And it's so
It's
awesome
almost like a
because,
fairy tale.
right,
The way the story is told is like a fairy tale.
yeah, and it's so awesome because it gives you two origin stories, basically what happened with the witch and what happened with him, the actual hillbilly. But it gives you sort of the story, but it gives you so much room to just add to the legend.
And he
Because
does.
when he's talking to the bear at the end, the bear is saying, you didn't tell him all the details, and he's like, well, he's not gonna believe it. He's not gonna believe everything that happened. So that gives you some room to keep adding to that legend. I'm like, oh my god, this is so freaking awesome.
You know it's only number one, right? It's only number one. Like,
number one. It's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to be told. Okay, Tracy, you mentioned this was in your long box, and you still got it, which is amazing.
Yep.
Why is this book so special to you?
It's beautiful. It takes a very special talent to be able to draw an entire comic book in a washed out sepia tone.
Hell yeah.
To have so much detail, to have all these little things that you notice when you go back to it the second time you've read it. Like, just even that page in itself, you look at that and you're going to miss so much of the house. You're going to miss that underlay of where that child is falling. You're going to miss those warts on her face. But when you pick it up the second time and you're going to read it, it's just like, and like as Manny said, it's that story that brings you in, and it gets, because he's telling a story.
Right.
So he's telling you, you're reading this story like he is talking to you. he is telling you what's happened. This is the lore, and it's just tangible. And then, you know, exactly what Manny says then, at the very, very end, and the bear comes out, and it's this ferocious, horrible, devious bear with all these beautifully drawn
fangs and stuff.
fangs. And he's like, you didn't tell him everything. And when he wouldn't believe me.
The masterpiece. It really was great.
It was awesome. It's amazing.
But that scene when they talk about the boar as well, that really got me.
I would read it.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Is that really his mom? Like.
Oh, the fire! Well, what happened to the mom? I gotta find out.
I know,
man. I thought
the
boar. I think the way they mentioned that she was the boar. I don't know. That's the thing. Like,
no, it leaves you to wonder that. Yeah,
and that's what a good comic does.
Yeah.
A good comic leaves you fulfilled but wanting more.
Exactly. It closed off that story, but there were so many other questions, and it's like, you know, it told you so much without telling you everything. And that's what made it so great. And the way he did it, like I said, it was like a roller coaster. Him telling the first story, going on to them talking to themselves, and then telling the second story, and then the way it closed off at the end, it was just beautiful.
It leaves you like, tell me more. Tell me more.
Because I actually went back and reread it looking for the name Lucille. I was like, where's that name coming from? So Lucille's not yet revealed.
No.
Wow.
It's
so good.
It's visually stunning.
Yeah.
It leaves you thinking. Like, look at that. Look at the motion you see with that cleaver. You see that movement. The tiny bits of saliva inside that witch's mouth that we don't see until we really look.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Those pieces, those strands of hair that are left with grease that are from him, you know, being out. Oh man, and having it in that he's walking out of the panel. He's coming towards you, people.
Yeah.
Yes. Coming at you if you've done bad things wrong, you evil witches.
Yeah, so amazing.
Like that's art. That is
man, so amazing, so amazing.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
without a shadow.
That's something you can put in a museum. You can take that page and frame it and put it in a museum. Seriously.
Yeah, and people will stop and watch.
Yeah, I'm right.
Totally. Because you do. Like look, like every page that you've posted here so far, there's something more to look at within that page.
Exactly. It was very hard to actually choose the pictures, I had to tell you.
Yeah, I'd say it was definitely hard. But it's because I know we're talking very visual at the moment about it, but like the storyline, as I said earlier, the accents, the nuances and tone when he's talking to the different, like from talking to the child to talking to the bear to talking to himself to this, bringing that level of storytelling is very difficult to do. This on every level.
I love comic books. I read every one that I can. I haven't drooled over many comic books lately. This one was breathtaking.
Yeah.
And the thing was, he didn't start out as a bad person. He was actually very, very innocent, very naive. He wasn't brought into a world that chose him. He was just very unfortunate.
Set up, yeah.
And the way that he's in the position he is now, I'm kind of glad he is, because he's a good person.
Right.
He's a really good person.
That moral compass, yeah.
That's it. And you know, again, because it's not a superhero comic, if it's not a superhero comic, we don't get moral stories anymore, like moral compass stories.
Right.
It's left to the superheroes to do that. Where this is, he's not even an anti-hero. It's not like he's a John Constantine. You know,
exactly.
It's completely its own statement that this, you know, person is.
I seriously want to finish this.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
You should get on there. Write a letter.
But anyways, Yeah, look, this is not the last book we'll be talking about today, but I'm really glad we did cover the Hillbilly because it's been out a while. But this is the book that this was the 2019 edition of The Goon, which was the first story to be re-released through Albatross Funnybooks. Written and illustrated by Eric Powell, special edition artist by Kevin Nolan, colors by Rachel Cohen and Eric Powell, edited by Tracy Marsh and El Jefe Andrea Smith. Manny, what's the position of El Jefe?
El Jefe, the boss.
Oh,
The boss.
sorry. Okay. All right, Manny.
Man,
Considering you're a fan, you're the super fan. Kick
yeah.
us off. What did you think of The Goon?
Man, I loved it. I've actually been a fan of the Goon for a long time. And he's the one that I follow religiously. Hillbilly, I've heard about it, but the Goon is like every time I see, and it's sad because for a long time I didn't get it, but as I started seeing artwork online, I went to my LCS and I said, do you have the Goon? And they were like, no, we don't order because not a lot of people know about him. So I'm like, every issue that comes out, I want it, and that's how it. I mean, if for anybody that's listening to this, please go to your local comic shop and ask them to carry these books because they're not like Spawn or like Superman that not a lot of people know about them. So if you don't ask for them, the LCS probably won't. They don't want to take a risk. So if you actually show that you want to read them, they'll order them, and trust me, they're worth every cent. They're worth. This is some of the best comics you'll read. Seriously. So yeah,
like the subject matter is completely diverse from one book to the next. So you can pick and choose what your genre is, and he has a book for you.
Right, and like for example, this issue of the Goon, is a perfect example of the mastery that Eric Powell has over art, over storytelling. Like he goes from horror to just plain old comedy to like gangster stories. The ambience of the story is on point. The mixed media that he uses in the story, in the artwork, I mean, it's a masterpiece. Any which way you wanna flip it, this book is a masterpiece, and this is his baby. Eric Powell is like he's drawn the Goon for more than 20 years. So that every time he puts a book out, he's coming with everything he's got. He don't skip on the details, and so trust me, you will love it if you read it. If you like horror, comedy, mystery, Scooby Doo type of story like that, you will love this comic.
All right, Rabbit. What did you think of the Goon?
I thought it was funny. Yeah, I'm not a big funny kind of comic person, but I was laughing at this, especially when they were going from house to house to house to house. That was my favorite part. And having said that, I'm not more of a comedic type person. This definitely made me laugh a lot. And with the art, I got to admit that to me the art was amazing on this. I loved Hillbilly hands down more than any of these, but the art in this and the way he did tell the story in this, and like I said, how funny it was, I couldn't stop laughing. I tried, I couldn't, and I'm not that funny. I'm not into that many comedy books either, so it was amazing. Yeah.
What do you think, Tracy?
I loved it. I thought it was very well done, and the art style is again. It's a bit more elevated than Hillbilly. It's got a little bit more texture and tone to it. The story is obviously more involved. The dynamic between the two main characters is just hilarious. When you said Scooby Doo there, I was like, oh my god, yes. But I could not put my finger on why I liked it so much. And if you speak to the Machine, who's one of my other podcasting friends from our wonderful group here, Comic Crusaders, he always hates when he sees that we're podcasting and there's a Scooby-Doo book, because I always pick it. Because I do. And that gives you that vibe, but it also has quite complexities in relation to the dynamic of the two main characters as well. So it's an interesting book that will make you laugh in places you feel like, oh, should I really be laughing at this? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
True.
you do fall in love with the main character, because he's just so goddamn stupid and just you know, he's just that big dummy friend that we all had, like in secondary school or high school or whatever your equivalent was, you know, that you were just like, yeah, mate, whatever. You know, he's picked up the back of the cars and moved them out of the way so you could get in, you know, that kind of friend.
Yeah, he's the mouthpiece and the muscle.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it really was. And I just love there's like one scene when the goon has like, I can't remember the guy threw like a piece of a car just flying past him.
The radiator, yeah.
Was that a radiator? Boom! Oh my god, yeah.
But you know, he just roll his sleeves up and that's it. Like, yeah, let's go out. He kind of reminds me of Popeye in some elements.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, just like ready for a fight at any time.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny part is that the comedy at some point is so silly. Like when they're trying to sell him these different houses, and every time he ends the realtor basically, he offers one house and he's like, and a death curse. And then another house, all these stuff that the house has, and a death curse. What is it with you and the damn death curse? Oh my god, man! I'm telling you, I love this book, man.
I would love to hear you do a live read through of this movie.
It would take like 2 hours because I'll be laughing so hard.
Right?
Like,
Couldn't stop laughing.
I would pay to see that.
Upon doing my research, I found that David Fincher was actually contemplating making it to an animated movie, and has Clancy Brown voice the Goon and Paul Giamatti voice Frankie.
Oh my god!
That's a criminal offense.
That is, oh my god! I would love that. I would love that.
Why that's not happening? I'd love to know.
If you were to pick somebody, Manny, who would you pick?
For who? For the Goon?
Yeah, since you're the super fan.
Man, I don't know. Probably Chris Hemsworth. Somebody that has a deep voice like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. It has to be somebody that has a deep, gravelly voice. Something like that. But I think Chris Hemsworth will be funny.
Yeah, I see Batista.
Ooh, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
I changed my choice to that.
And then who would be your Frankie? I think Frankie would be the more standout in terms of the speaking, and
I would go with honestly, I will go with Paul Giamatti, or I will go with Bradley Cooper, because I sort of hear him talking like Rocket Raccoon, in that type of really loud voice and just being annoying.
The
guy needs to be short in stature.
Yeah.
Right.
He had a big young Danny DeVito, like.
Yes.
I can say, like, he would have done well.
But you're talking about like the voice actor or the live action?
Both.
Live action.
Oh, if it's live action, then I don't know. But I was just talking about voice actor. Oh,
that'd be good. I saw Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi would be a great.
That's who I saw.
Yes.
If you're listening to us pitch this movie company, get Steve on board.
Let's do it.
Let's do this thing.
Regardless of how old he is now.
Yeah, still matter. Do it. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He would. I mean, but like obviously, and look, and I mean the style is very different, because I think this style was the style that carried over from Dark Horse. I don't think that would work with the Hillbillies art style, but I think because Hillbillies a brand new story and the art could be what it is. And like, don't change it for anyone, Eric. If you ever listen to this,
Nah.
don't change the
Eric, come on
hillbilly
and
style for anyone.
let's be like Eric. Come talk to us. We would have an interview and talk to you about
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do those.
Come
Oh
on,
my gosh.
the
I'm a
door's
big-
always open.
I'm a big fan of color in comics. So whenever I saw Hillbilly, I was kind of turned off that it didn't have that much. But man, I started reading it and started seeing that art, and it just pulled me in. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
It's almost like when you see old paintings that are like fading. It's like it makes it feel like a legend, like it's like an old story, and it puts you in that setting.
whenever they were
Like,
telling those stories, and it pulled you in because it was so dark and not so colorful.
Yeah.
But the little bit of color he used was perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Didn't need
It
much
is.
more than that.
It is.
Yeah, but I do really enjoy the Goon though. I thought the Goon was lots of fun, and I think because I probably have to go back and read it because I know Chinatown is a big story of his, which was like the origin story of the Goon, and I think that was like a real big story. Have you read that, Manny?
Which one is that?
Like Chinatown.
I haven't. No, I
It's like
haven't.
the origin story of the Goon. Like he took a break from writing and drawing the Goon for Dark Horse and went back and did Chinatown. He did
Damn.
like a trade for them, and I heard that's really, really good.
I need to read that. Right now, I'm trying to collect the Goon omnibus or omnibuy. I don't know how you say it in English, but
You got it right. Yeah.
yeah, right. So I know there's probably like 6 or 7 volumes or something like that, and I want to get them all.
Yes.
So
So
we
this
can
is
have
my
the sign
favorite
for the interview.
page.
Oh my God, look at that,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
man.
It looks like a butthole.
Yeah.
That's a T-shirt right there.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
cool.
absolutely.
You should get like little stickers with Kapunch, and like when you're annoyed at somebody, you could just put the sticker on them.
Donk.
This is what could happen to you if you're
This
not.
is, this is how you teach the boys to deal with resolution. If you want to,
Right.
you don't use your hands, use your stickers.
Yeah.
The thing I love too is the fact that his hat never comes off when he gets hit. I love that. It only comes off when he's sleeping.
Right. It's almost like part of his character, like his uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll never come out.
So,
Yeah, it's
it's
funny.
like Judge Dredd. He can't see his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
But
it.
look, final thoughts just from me before I go around the board. I really appreciate finding these and actually reading these because I never read any of these books before, and having been a first-time reader. No, I mean I've known about Eric Powell for a long, long time, but just one of those books I just never took the time. And that's the great thing about being a member of the Sunder Katz is the fact that we get to read stories like this that we don't normally get into. But our final thoughts, Tracy, what did you think overall of Albatross Funnybooks?
I think they have a great opening in the market right now, and they should utilize every inch of it because what they have in the mix of books they have is phenomenal. And buy Hillbilly if you haven't got it already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just because it's a piece of art, not only a comic.
Right.
And the
Yes.
Goon Tiki mug, because and everybody deserves a pooping mug.
Yes.
That's what you're getting for Christmas, lads.
Oh, great. Okay, Rabbit, your final thoughts?
So I'm usually critical of books that, any of them that I read, especially my own. But, reading all of these, I couldn't find one that I didn't like. Hillbilly was exceptionally great. It was better than, I would say, any book that I read in the past year. It was amazing to me. And the Goon was so funny. I couldn't stop myself from... I went into the Goon thinking that I wasn't going to like it as much, but I couldn't stop laughing. And all of these books were great in so many different ways. I was surprised.
Mm-hmm. Manny?
Yeah. Well, I'm a fan. I love it. I love everything about the whole company. Every book they put out is different from the next, and they're all are putting a lot of love into each book. And I just wish and I hope that more people read them. More
Yes.
people reach out to their local comic shop and just order these books, because they're worth, like I said, they're worth every cent. Each one of them. Hillbilly, seriously, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it really is.
Compare it to any book that you want, and it's a masterpiece. Any which way you slice it. And the Goon, it doesn't matter what type of fan you are, you'll find something funny about that book. It's just beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's funny. Yeah, you're gonna love it. If you don't want it, I'll buy it from you.
If you have
I just
issue
want to give
6
it.
and issue 4, they're the ones I'm missing.
All right.
I just want to mention one book that is also released through Albatross Funnybooks that really didn't get much press because it's hard to actually get a copy for review, and that is, did you hear what Eddie Gein done?
I have to buy it. I cannot wait to buy it because
Yes.
it looks so
And if you're
cool.
not familiar, it's
I've seen-
it's a story about the guy who is a deranged murderer, inspired movies such as Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs.
Holy
So
He's
his
a
story
cannibal.
influenced those
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, he was a cannibal in the United States, and
What?
the guy that's doing
Yeah.
the book. Sorry, I'm taking over, Dodgy. But
No,
the guy
go
that's-
for it. No.
The guy that's doing the book with him is an investigative journalist, so it's going to be written in that kind of context. I have to buy it. I
But
can't
with
wait.
Eric Powell's art. Eric Powell's art, Manny.
Oh my God! I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to read that. I think I
Yeah,
see that. I
same.
saw that a teaser, some teaser art or something like that, but I haven't seen it in the wild, obviously.
No, I think it's designed not to be shared unless you actually buy the book because of the content.
Oh man,
Mhm.
okay. I need to get that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to go
100%.
purchase it when I get paid this month because it's just.
Well, you're gonna get
Yeah,
like three or four sales from us.
Yeah.
If I can find it, I'll get it for you. Don't worry.
But yeah, look, I really appreciate the Sunder Katz, Tracy, Rabbit, Manny. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to coming with you with another episode from another publisher from Indie Comics. And before we wrap up, Sunder.
Thunder.
Thunder Katz!
Oh!
Yeah, there you go!
Yes!
Yes!
We did it!
Woo!
All right, guys. See you all next week.
Ah,
Next
man.
episode.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.shop. Also follow along with all of the websites in the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.